The old house on Maple Street had always been avoided by the locals. Its paint was peeling, windows boarded up, and a pervasive sense of decay seemed to hang around it like a shroud. But when Sarah moved into town, she saw the house as an opportunity, a fixer-upper that could be turned into her dream home. One rainy afternoon, Sarah decided to start exploring the house. As she stepped inside, the musty smell of damp wood greeted her. The floorboards creaked under her feet, and the dim light from the storm outside barely pierced the darkness within. She made her way to the grand staircase, noticing a peculiar pattern in the wallpaper, a series of symbols she didn't recognize. In the kitchen, she found an old, ornate mirror hanging on the wall. The glass was so clouded with dust that it barely reflected her image. She wiped it clean with her sleeve, revealing intricate carvings around its edge. For a moment, she thought she saw movement behind her in the reflection, but when she turned around, the room was empty. Shrugging it off as her imagination, Sarah decided to check the basement. The door was heavy and groaned as she pulled it open. The air grew colder as she descended the narrow steps, each one echoing ominously. The basement was cluttered with old furniture covered in sheets, and the faint smell of mildew lingered in the air. In the far corner, something caught her eye, a small, antique chest. It looked out of place among the other items, almost as if it had been hidden. She knelt down and opened it, revealing an array of old photographs. They were all of the same woman, her face stern and her eyes hauntingly familiar. As Sarah examined the photos, she noticed something chilling. The woman's eyes seemed to follow her. A sudden noise from upstairs made Sarah jump. It sounded like footsteps. She hurried back up, her heart pounding. As she reached the top of the stairs, she saw a figure standing in the hallway, a woman, her dress old-fashioned and her eyes as cold as ice. Sarah's breath caught in her throat. The woman from the photograph stood before her, expressionless. "Who are you?" Sarah managed to whisper, but the woman didn't respond. Instead, she began to move closer, her steps silent despite the creaky floor. Panic surged through Sarah, and she backed away, only to trip over a loose floorboard and fall. As she scrambled to her feet, she felt an icy hand grip her arm. Desperately, Sarah pulled away and ran out of the house, not stopping until she reached the safety of her car. She looked back, and through the rain, she saw the woman standing at the window, watching her with those same haunting eyes. Sarah never returned to the house on Maple Street. It remained empty, its dark secrets undisturbed. But sometimes, when the wind was just right, neighbors claimed they could hear the faint sound of footsteps echoing through the empty halls, and they would whisper about the woman who still watched from the window, waiting for someone to discover her tragic story.